Hello there and welcome. Today we're taking a look at the brand new Nerf Limited EE-3. The box looks really good, and this actually has one of the coolest displays of any Nerf Limited blaster. I'll show you. Obviously the sleeve comes off, but then you can stand the box up and simply lift. And then we get this really awesome display, which will of course stand up by itself. The blaster can very easily be removed from this case. Included in the box is of course the EE-3 itself. We have the instructions, 12 darts, and 3 4-round cylinders. The blaster does require 2 AAAs for the sounds. They can be installed right there. Now with the EE-3 out of the box, let's go over the blaster. Now first off, the blaster does have a scope. Now you can kind of look through it. It's pretty distorted. Less distorted than the one on the Mandalorian blaster, but still pretty distorted. Also, like the Mandalorian blaster, it features a light in the scope. It can be activated by turning this dial right here. The stock is a really good length and is actually pretty comfortable. The grip, on the other hand, is very blocky and quite uncomfortable. But this is supposed to look like Boba Fett's EE-3, so the main goal is to make it screen accurate, not necessarily the most comfortable thing. And besides the colors, which are obviously different, this is pretty screen accurate. On the left side of the blaster only, we have this little button. Now when this gets pulled back, that pops out and we get a sound. Now this is the blaster's most interesting feature because, like I said earlier, it comes with 3 of these 4-round cylinders. One cylinder can be loaded like this, and then you push this closed, we get another sound. And then back here we have the priming handle. It has a little slot for your finger. It can be pulled all the way back and it does have a spring return. Then you can pull the trigger and repeat that 4 times. The blaster doesn't seem very powerful, but it is a lot of fun to fire. The sound effects are definitely pretty good. Something I find a little bit annoying is, as you saw earlier, this popped open when it didn't have a cylinder in it, but once it has a cylinder in it, when that cylinder empties and you go to pop it open, it doesn't open all the way. So then you kind of have to do it manually. Makes me really wish this was either spring-loaded or just popped out better with the cylinders. I think it would probably pop out if you tilted the blaster on, well, let's just try it. So if I tilt the blaster on its side, it will actually drop it out. It just won't do it when you're holding it straight up. So far, this thing is really, really fun to use. Maybe not the most ergonomic blaster, but definitely captures the spirit of the EE-3. So now let's take this thing outside and grab some numbers. I did not open the included Elite darts, so we'll be using these brand new Fortnite Elite darts. The chronograph is firing up. 60. I was expecting worse. 57. 61. And 64. Honestly, I was expecting in the 40s or 50s, so that is pretty acceptable for a prop style blaster. Now let's fire some shots downrange. Now let's go back inside and I'll wrap up my final thoughts. So what are my final thoughts on the Nerf Limited EE-3? Overall, I'm actually pretty happy with the blaster. As a Star Wars fan, I definitely think this captures the look of Boba Fett's EE-3. And I'm sure there's going to be some really cool paint jobs for this thing that'll make it look much more screen accurate. While this doesn't have the most high performance and isn't the most practical blaster, I really like the unique mechanism. Unique mechanisms that we don't really see in other blasters is kind of what I expect from Nerf Limited. This is the first Nerf blaster to use this kind of loading mechanism. It's actually pretty cool. While I'm pretty happy with how the blaster turned out, I don't think it's going to work for everyone. First off, of course, if you're not a Star Wars fan, you're not going to find this worth the price. And I don't even fully think this is worth the $110 US. I think it's a really solid, $80 blaster. Maybe $100. It just seems like That 110 is just a bit high for what you're getting. Another thing that's a little bit annoying isn't exclusive to this blaster, but Nerf Limited in general. It's the fact that I ordered this over a year ago. Now, I did get it on the date that they originally said I would get it on. However, you can buy this on Amazon right now. I'm not sure if it's going to happen with this blaster, but with the Needler, it did come back after the pre-order and it actually went on sale. And that really sucks because you're not really rewarding the people who were most excited about it and bought it when it first went up for pre-order. It just seems kind of disrespectful. Again, that is a general problem we see with a lot of Nerf Limited blasters and is not exclusive to the EE-3. I was already aware of all that, so I knew exactly what I was getting. So is this blaster worth it? If you are exclusively a blaster fan, I don't think this is worth the price. You are getting a really cool mechanism, in my opinion, but probably not $110 cool. However, if you're a Star Wars fan, or like in my case, a Nerf Star Wars fan, I think this is actually a pretty cool blaster. I believe this is supposed to be 1-to-1 scale with the in-universe EE-3. The colors are of course not screen accurate, but I think it was a pretty good call making it look like his armor instead of whatever the heck they tried to do with the Mandalorian blaster. I also think the case for this thing is really cool, probably the best lMTD display in my opinion that we've had. Don't get me wrong, the Needler one was cool, but this one has more deco. Like we have Star Wars here, we have this kind of Tatooine-ish background, we have Boba Fett right here. I think it just looks really cool. Overall, while the EE-3 is not going to be for everyone and certainly not perfect, I think it does what it's trying to do pretty well, and I really enjoy the blaster. And I would really like to see this drop-down cylinder feature in some future designs. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this review. I would love to hear your thoughts on the blaster, and happy nerfing.